I mean, the game of the day here between the Buccaneers and Seahawks. We got Buccaneers 38, Seahawks 35. Let's just open it this way here, Joel. In a game that was kind of a duel between the Reclamation 2018 draft quarterbacks, Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, and Ohio State star wide receivers, Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold combined for 720 passing yards and 6 touchdowns. Meanwhile, JSN and Emeka Egbuka combined for 15 catches, 295 yards, and 2 touchdowns. This is like the DFS game stack fever dream right here, Joel.
Yeah, you needed it.
Which honestly, you needed it. Guess what? If you played DFS today and you didn't have guys from this game, sorry about your luck. You better try next week. You're not getting any money in this one. But man, I mean, I didn't really see this one coming either. I thought this would be a competitive game between two good teams. But both these defenses I thought were playing better than this. So to see both of these quarterbacks come out and just throw heat after heat, I was so impressed. What was your just kind of first big picture takeaway of the game here?
Yeah, going back to like Egbuka and JSN, like when they were coming out of college, the thing around like we would expect the big plays from Marv, like Jeremiah Smith, who's in college right now, those type of receivers. But with Egbuka and JSN, it was more like, oh, they're going to be the guys that'll get those first downs for you. They'll move the chains, all that sort of stuff. JSN is leading in those big play catches this year, those 20-yard catches. And then the guy that's leading in terms of those big play touchdowns is Egbuka. Obviously, today helped too. But I would love to hear your thoughts on this volume for Egbuka, because this is kind of game after game where I'm pretty sure he had 7 targets today and 7 receptions. It's like he has that perfect catch rate. The volume still isn't incredible, but it's such valuable volume where it's like, obviously, you're not too worried. But does it have a little bit of regression going forward? Or are you confident that this just kind of keeps riding, or maybe the volume increases?
I think the volume could increase. I just don't want to overthink this, man. You know, this is a really, really good football player in a really good offense who's winning in ways, I'm glad you highlighted this, winning in ways that we didn't maybe expect from him. And look, I loved Emeka Egbuka as a prospect. I thought he was a clear first-round player, but I thought of him as more of, like a dirty work slot receiver. And so far, he's been anything but that. He's been a true big play monster. As you mentioned, I saw the stat from Hayden Winks. Emeka Egbuka is now 3rd all-time in fantasy points through his first 5 NFL games, behind only Randy Moss and Puka Nacua. I mean, so again, I don't want to overthink this. Yeah, right. That's wild. I don't want to overthink this too much based on any sort of, metric or anything, because also I think the play has matched it on film. Like, I think he's been an awesome separator against man coverage. He's so smart against zone. He is. I talked about this this week. He is uniquely good for a rookie receiver in terms of beating zone coverage, like settling in the right spots, being where he's supposed to be, not overrunning his routes. You don't typically see that with rookie wide receivers. Even JSN, who's in his 3rd year, obviously, he took a little bit of time to kind of get that down, and now we see the full-fledged results of that. Egbuka's like 5 games into his NFL career, and he's doing the damn thing. So I don't really want to overthink this. I think that he is – look, is he going to have the same – smash every single week when Mike Evans is back? Maybe not necessarily. So I guess maybe you could call him a sell high based on that. But I just think that this is a guy who is going to consistently do this because he is putting it together from a production and a film perspective.
Yeah, and I would agree. So I'm glad that you say that. I just think of like this comment that I got earlier this week of somebody asking, like, is Egbuka a sell high? And it's like, my answer was, well, I've gotten this comment 3 weeks in a row. So probably not.
Right.
Like at this point,
probably
again,
not.
And I'm sure people will ask again, like, oh, is he a sell high this week because he's been 4 weeks in a row? Like, yeah, it might not be this perfect. He's probably not going to be the overall wide receiver 3, which is he is right now. But he's still going to be amazing long term. So yeah, I'm kind of on that wavelength. A lot of those big plays are coming on the outside too. So he plays a little bit in the slot there, but a lot of those big plays are coming on the outside.
I love that way of thinking about it. I'm pretty terrible about, trade analysis or when is the right time to sell or buy or whatever. I feel like if you keep saying for 5 straight weeks that this guy's a sell high, he's probably not a sell high. And if you keep saying for 5 straight weeks that this guy's a buy low, he's probably not actually a buy low. Like, we're just living in what the current reality is. And the current reality for both these Ohio State receivers is awesome. And for JSN, man, just a true year 3 leap candidate to a guy that I think is right now like saying top 10 receiver in the NFL sounds conservative, and he is a guy that is clearly an every week wide receiver one in fantasy football. But let's talk Seahawks here for just a second before we get back to the Bucs. Usually I like to start with who wins the game, but because we're just on the Seattle thing, this will transition us into it. I know Sam Darnold had the game ending interception, or what ultimately allowed the Bucs to kick the game winning field goal. It kind of bounced off somebody's helmet. He was under pressure. I don't think that was the classic Sam Darnold. I'm sure he looked like he was hard on himself afterwards. I don't know if that's necessarily the classic Sam Darnold pees down his leg in a big moment type situation, but because Darnold's just been balling out all year, man. 4 touchdowns in this game. He's the guy that is delivering all those deep vertical passes to JSN is Sam Darnold, and he's been fantastic so far.
Yeah, 10 yards per attempt, 340 yards. I don't know if you can ease my pain with Kenneth Walker at all, but that's been the big thing where he's incredible as an NFL player, but still like another one. There's multiple big runs today, and then he gets inside the 10-yard line and they're bringing in Charbonnet. He's getting that goal line work. But the pain for me today was they already were 31st in running back target share, and we wouldn't expect that from both what we saw last year with Mike McDonald. Obviously, he's not the offensive coordinator, but even the offensive coordinator coming from New Orleans in Kubiak. He was thrown to the running backs a lot. And I know it's Kamara, but you wouldn't expect it to be 31st this year. And Charbonnet had 2 targets, Walker had 0. So it's just really tough in fantasy right now for such a good player that's just not getting used.
I mean, 10 for 86 for Kenneth Walker. Like, it could be worse. It's been worse before, but without that passing game work, you kind of need him to score a touchdown. I think he's just mostly like a low end kind of boom bust running back 2, as opposed to maybe a higher end 2, which you might have drafted him as. So I don't know. To me, I'm not too worried about Kenneth Walker. I just view him as somebody that you might have to adjust some expectations for, because Zach Charbonnet is not going away. Like, he is a reliable, rugged back who they like in pass protection and short yardage. So this is one of those situations, as long as both those guys are out there, this is kind of how the rotation is going to be. But at the same time, Joel, like, if anything does happen to Zach Charbonnet, I think we know then Kenneth Walker goes to the moon, and vice versa as well.
Yeah, totally. And don't waste that on anybody. But yeah, he had 1 0-yard receptions. That maybe helps him a hair in those PPR leagues. But yeah, overall, I don't know if he's scored between like 10 and 18 one time this year. It's either been like 20 points or under 10. So that's been really tough.
All right, let's go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers side here, because we talked about Rico Dowdle earlier in the show, and we'll talk about him here again in just a moment. But kind of the common question we got a lot during the week was, okay, so these replacement running backs between Rachaad White, Rico Dowdle, the guys in Arizona, which way do we go here? To me, it was kind of between Rachaad White or Rico Dowdle, and the answer was yes. Whichever one you went with, you were fine. I mean, obviously Dowdle really went off, but Rachaad White led the team, 14 carries, 41 yards, 2 touchdowns, in addition to 4 receptions for 30 yards. So Rachaad White, I think, as long as Bucky Irving is out, he didn't do anything today to make them change that rotation at all.
Totally. Yeah, they have his trust. Like, even when we're entering the game, it was 80 snaps to 2 in terms of White versus Sean Tucker. So he's been that starter before. They gave him all that valuable work. I talk a lot about the receiving and goal line combination for running backs, and he got all that. He got both of the goal line touches. He got basically every single route out of the running back. So 70% of the touches overall. It's amazing for Rachaad White, that fringe level RB1, as long as Bucky's out, just because his offense is so good.
Last thing on the Bucs here, Chris Godwin once again did have a full-time role, 34 routes for Egbuka to lead the team, 31 for Cade Otton, and 30 for Chris Godwin, but played a little bit more in the slot today, but still I think it's going to take a minute for him to get fully back operational. I think people were excited by the route participation, the targets last week, but to me it's going to take a little bit for Godwin to get ramped back up here. And this was, to be fair, a difficult matchup.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting too much, but yeah, 40% slot work compared to about 30% last week. So that's a little bit better. We want that to be kind of 60, 65% like it was last season. But when he's relying on those yards after catch, that screen game out of the slot a lot, it's going to lower the expectations when he's coming off the injury, playing on the outside, and they got Shepard in there in the slot.